These dudes be having the audacity, be thicker than a snicker, have enough boobies to nurse two babies, have a body, have a belly that looks like they are postpartum, and then they have the nerve to talk about a woman's body. I don't know where they get the nerve from, but the people in the comment section decided to tell him about himself. This is a follow-up post where he's comparing Ashanti to the pre-baby, pre-married Ashanti. So this one he says, I went through the comments on my Ashanti post and I saw a lot of women saying she looks good big, but the men are agreeing with me and think she needs to hit that gym. So that must mean y'all women don't consider what men think. And maybe that's why y'all can't keep one. Ashanti is beautiful and I understand baby weight, but I also understand waiting too late to have one. Make sure you subscribe to the channel on the picture I'm about to speak about this live. Ew, absolutely not. Do not go and subscribe to this man. All right, let's go through some of the comments. Chazzy Tear says, now you right about one thing. We don't give an F what you think, Fickiana. And then she posts this picture that says, stares in fed up black girl. And then Wendy says, Father God, no. Sunny Day says, I personally don't consider what stupid men think. This man said he went through the comments. And then she does this exasperated face and says, but random women's bodies are his priority. Beyond Casual says, now I might pay a bit of attention if he wants to share on how he keeps his yitties sitting pretty. Otherwise, zip it. Healing Heart said, didn't we tell you to expire in a ditch? How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man? This person down below right here says, does he know we can see him? Trey Bella Diva says, you understand baby weight. Okay, explain to us why you have baby weight without the baby. We'll wait. Wendy says, he had it since he was a baby. And Millennial in Debt says, in case no one called you a loser today, I wanted to be the first. Ha ha, loser. Very Pretty Ricky says, I just feel like a ninja that doesn't powder under his breasts shouldn't talk about a woman's body, pre or postpartum. Okay, so Boom Baby says, them things sitting, ain't they? And then Physics says, he got them boys free balling in that house coat. Okay, there's more. There's a lot more. Now, this is a man says, sir, you literally have a C cup trying to preach holiness on your page and think you're in a position to police women's bodies and think women need to listen to any man about what they think about themselves or their bodies. You're quite literally the problem talking about someone's wife and mother. For whatever reason, I decided to get a close-up on these boobies. And She Creates 25 says, not a C cup breasts. Look, this is just curvaceous. He should not be this curvy. All right, y'all needed to see this. Contagious Love 22 says, things you missed in your comments. 1, women and men agree your back is too big to be having this conversation. 2, Ashanti would never. 3, your titties are bigger than a breastfeeding mother's. 4, someone said you're built like Big Mama on soul food, and now all I hear, they ain't cutting off my leg. And, okay, I'm not going to post this, but somebody else decided to show a picture of him and the women in his family. And like they were saying, dude, you don't have any room to talk because the women in your family are pretty big too. So now he got the women in his family catching strays because he has the nerve to talk about somebody's body. Like, if this dude had to run for his life, it would be over after four steps. I need these people to do better. But also, what I am glad is that women are pushing back. They're not accepting these men talking about them however they want to. They push back and they come at them hard. These dudes can talk all they want to, but since a lot of women are not seeking their head pats and validation, they don't give a good goddamn about what these chunky dudes decide to say about them. You go ahead and speak. We're going to speak right back and we're going to hold up a mirror to your chunky butt. I had to do a few more comments before I got out of here. Nick says, I don't know why, but I just randomly woke up and decided to post. Here's a random photo of some random dude, much like me, could easily lose 25 to 30 pounds and still be considered very much out of shape. And then Nick took the time to circle this random man's belly and put an arrow to this man's belly, just randomly. Eastside Jimmy said, didn't nobody agree with you, Ninja? Her flyness said, nobody. And then Queen Poison says, you built worse than her in the picture you shitting on. Make it make sense. And then we got this picture. Here's the picture again, just so you can see this little pillow man with legs. That girl JG says, why you skipping the part where men and women telling your big butt to put on a bra and a waist trainer? And then finally, I'll end it for real with this one. Physics says, one thing about them comments, they're not on your side. I saw someone make a comment that this dude came over here from Twitter, where you can speak all like that. He came over to Threads and thought that he was going to bring his Twitter humor or bring his YouTube humor over here. And the women are not going. Even the men are not going. These dudes better figure out where they are, because these different social media platforms have different flavors to it. And the women over here are not playing these games with these ill-shaped, skinny-legged, big bellied men. They just are not. All right, let me know what you think about this one.
I was scrolling Threads, and a man decided to open his mouth and speak about a woman's body. This gentleman right here. And he made the unfortunate decision to post this. Damn, Ashanti done got big. That baby blew her up. I hope she get back in the gym and get back down to the see my days were cold without you days. Why'd you do that, sir? The comments are doing exactly what you expect. I know your Humpty Dumpty ass isn't talking about anybody's weight. Built like a damn bag of malto meal. Get the fuck out. Not with these beauty supply store shades. This downtrodden wombat thinks his Twitter comedy gonna garner money on Threads. Instead, he's just creating a digital footprint of his demise. Wrong app, you low-swinging, long-hanging, titty-having bitch. This nigga built like a flexible refrigerator and has the nerve to talk about a woman's body. Sir, you're a D cup. She looks like a woman who just had a baby. You old Winnie the Pooh in the frame-ass ninja. You got the nerve to be big as hell with little ass clothes and cankles. Be better when you wake up and squeeze yourself in the baby fat jeans, you bald bastard. Why is it always dudes built like Big Mama from Soul Food trying to downplay a beautiful woman that just had a baby? Like, dude, you look postpartum and you ain't pushed out one kid. I don't know why this one gets me so bad. Have you seen the state of you? You're talking about Ashanti, but she's happy and wealthy. Look at the state of you. Sir, you look like Tamu the Dream by the head and Great Value Santana by the titties. Please shut the fuck up. Ooh, she can lose weight. Your ED and early balding are forever. In a word of wisdom, men be sitting there unmoisturized, stomach empty, missing a toenail, like, let me critique her looks. And honestly, why do y'all do this? Why did you do this, sir? Meanwhile, by the time I made it to the comments, y'all had already handled it. I said, I just came to watch old Keg Belly here get mollywopped because y'all did that.
Just another example of why the birth rate needs to plummet to hell. I am on every single day. They give me a reason to say this. The birth rate needs to plummet to hell and make these dudes lonelier. So this woman, this 30-year-old woman is married to this 41-year-old man, just had a baby, and he can't wait just a little bit longer before he gets some. She says, my husband is upset I said no to sex 2 days in a row. How do I make him not feel rejected? I am disgusted at these dudes. Disgusted. She says, for some background info, I'm 8 weeks postpartum with our second child and just stopped bleeding over the past weekend. I started birth control yesterday because I really do not want another child, and we've gotten pregnant twice with only one cycle and no help. We've had sex 3 times so far since 5.5 weeks postpartum. Yesterday and today, at the most inconvenient times, I'm brushing my teeth and getting dressed to work out, and literally just waking up after being up with the baby all night. He says, let's go. I told him no, I'm ovulating. Give me a week and we'll be good to go again. I finished getting dressed, made the bed, and went to him and said, sorry, just not a good time, and let's wait for the birth control to start working. He says not to give him that. He feels rejected all the time. She just had a baby. Ah. He feels rejected all the time, and that he should be able to have sex with his wife after no sex for almost a year, and he shouldn't have to masturbate. Says he has to take care of himself and everyone else as always. He says he's not mad, but he's giving me the cold shoulder and refuses to talk about it. I just walked away and took our toddler with me to work out. I will admit we haven't had sex a lot since I got pregnant. It was a really hard pregnancy, and I was in the hospital a couple of times with severe HG, but I tried. He also has chronic pain, so a lot of the times he's in a bad mood, and I don't want to initiate. I told him this, and he said, well, it'll be a good distraction. I don't want him to feel rejected. How do I fix this so he doesn't feel this way? You need to get rid of this dude. This is a 41-year-old man. She's sitting up here saying she had a hard pregnancy and she just gave birth. And she's sitting up here trying to tiptoe around his feelings. He's acting like a little kid that didn't get some candy on top of ice cream. I am at a loss for words, but that's not true because I did type something. I said, I am honestly disgusted by how some of these men use their wives as a masturbatory tool. Like literally, this man is disregarding your humanity and you just had a baby. How are you not more upset about this? You see, by the time I started taking the screenshots, this had less than 30 comments on it. But most of the people were just kind of disgusted. She is underreacting, in my opinion. Very Competent says, just FYI, having sex before you've healed from birthing can kill you. And then Trish says, you can't unless you have sex whenever he wants, even if that puts you at risk or you don't feel like it. And that's a clear no. He's 41 and acting like a 20-year-old. This is a him problem, and that will probably go away if you start having sex again after the birth control is in effect. 2 days? That's ridiculous. You just grew a human and gave birth to his child. Western Breadfruit says, you don't make someone feel this or that. It's not your responsibility to manage his feelings, and you can't fix a selfish, inconsiderate sex pest. Being married does not mean you're there to offer on-demand sex. You are a human being who recently just grew a whole human being and would like to avoid the experience for now. He is an a-hole. Let him die mad about it and hand him the kid for F's sakes. Go do your workout alone. Maybe if he actually had to parent his own child, he wouldn't be in such a hurry to risk having another one. And then Inevitable Mouth says, preach. At the bottom, Trillium Summer says, marry someone who isn't a selfish a-hole? Pilutis says, I think this is something he needs to deal with on his own. How do you feel about sex right now? Do you feel comfortable and want to have it yourself? She says, I do, just not at the exact moment he wants it. Plus, I'm ovulating. Geez, let me jump on the treadmill first and get the kids down for a nap. But it's all or nothing with him always. I told him that's not fair. He's mad at me for not wanting to have sex at that exact moment. And all he says is, yeah, you're right. It's not fair for me. Like, what does that mean? And Paludas responds, I think he means that it's not fair that you say no. It sounds a lot like he feels entitled to sex just because you two are married. It's really, really alarming. Smooth Cheetah says, when I was 10 weeks postpartum and didn't want to have sex yet, because why would you? I asked my husband if it bothered him. He looked at me surprised and said, "Why would I want to have sex with you if you don't want to have sex with me? That's basically great." Think about that. Your husband is a complete D-head and a gross human. Palutis says, "Yep, I didn't feel comfortable to have sex until close to 16 weeks postpartum. And I also had really bad nausea and morning sickness, so it had not happened for over a year. My partner had zero issues with it. We spoke openly about libidos and sex, and he took things slow with me, and we're getting back to how things were pre-baby. And it's purely because we both worked on it as a team, like he treated her as a human being and not an ex doll." Hideous Fox says 100%. OP's husband is a repulsive a-hole that does not care for OP's feelings, wants, and needs at all. What does he mean he shouldn't have to self-pleasure? Who told him that? I think I didn't get the memo that after marriage, the wife becomes a fleshlight or blow-up doll available for her husband's every effing whim. Disgusting. Churchy Baby says this, "OP, why can't some partners get this? The more they make it a chore, the more my vagina dries up." Peach Banana says, "Your husband sounds pretty awful. Does he understand what your body has been through over the last year? Surely he does. But that makes it even worse that he doesn't care how you feel and is still putting his desires ahead of your comfort. It's not about rejection. It's about you recovering from a difficult pregnancy and childbirth. I mean, if you two are done having kids and you don't want to get pregnant again, why isn't he looking into getting a vasectomy? Why isn't he concerned about your physical well-being and trying to protect you from immediately getting pregnant again?" And then she says, "Our insurance doesn't cover birth control. He works for a Catholic hospital. I wanted them to take my tubes during my last C-section, but they told me they wouldn't cover the whole C-section if they did that procedure. The only reason they covered the pills is because my doctor sent them in to get my bleeding to finally stop." So she's sitting up here doing all this bleeding. She doesn't want to have another child. She's not on birth control. And her 41-year-old husband is sitting up here pouting like an additional toddler whose emotions she has to manage. Y'all, I am irritated today. All right, I'm going to end it there. Let me know what you think of this one. I'm sure you understand where I am coming from, especially if you've had a child and needed to recover after childbirth. So chime in. Men have forever had too much damn audacity to be judging women's bodies, and it is about time that women started clapping back at these men. I am over it. And this is one of the reasons why I will continue to have these conversations, because people have not brought them down 3 to 17 notches. They have been able to look like Who Shot John. They've been able to just exist looking like a pillow with some legs and nobody calling them on it. And that's the reason why we are calling them on it in this day. We are going to continue to talk about them. This woman posted in the Am I Overreacting subreddit saying, "Am I overreacting for being upset that my fiance is making comments about my weight?" You're absolutely not overreacting. And before I even read the post, I know that she is underreacting. But we're going to continue to make it so that women, maybe not this woman, I don't know if she's ready yet, but the rest of y'all have some words to say back to these people. She says, "My fiance, who's 31, and I have been together for 4 years. I fluctuated in weight, but I've been anywhere but from 145 pounds to 132 pounds, and she's 5'5". I feel like I do have a bit of a tummy is where I hold weight, but I exercise 3 times a week and try to eat healthy most days. My fiance used to be very active, fell off again, and just recently started going to the gym again. He is overweight currently. But he still looks so handsome, and I'm still super attracted to him." See, that's the thing. So she has these soft feelings for him, but she would never talk about his tubby butt the way he is talking about her. And she fluctuates. She ain't even 150 pounds. I am irritated. Recently, he's been making some kind of mean comments about my weight. First, in passing, called me a fat ass. And then when I said, come again, he said I was acting like one because I was eating about 7 to 9 fun-sized candies I got from work for Halloween while we were watching a movie. I was showing him old pics of me from 7 years ago when I gained a bunch of weight in college. I made a comment saying I was chunky back then, and he is aware of how embarrassed I am about myself from that time period. He then saw me reaching for cookies to make for my friend and I, and said, no, we can't have you looking how you used to. I was like, that was kind of mean, and he apologized, saying he was just poking fun like I did to myself. He also made a comment saying, so you're just going to let me go to the gym and get looking good while you don't? I was like, I do work out and have been long before you. He's never made comments like this about me, and it's making me really insecure. I don't think I'm fat, but now I'm questioning it. Obviously, I wish I had a flatter tummy, but I have never had that. I feel like he's kind of criticizing me a lot. He's also been super snappy at me, especially this weekend. I had a girlfriend come visit me for the first time. He acted super annoyed all weekend and had an attitude with me in front of her. Then would say things like, it's none of your business, when I would ask him what he's looking at on his phone. He would straight up be on his phone while I was talking to him. Another slightly small thing, he's been making this joke anytime a hot girl comes on the screen, and he'll say, oh my God, she's so hot. And he says he does it because he knows it bothers me. I swear to God, these dudes need to be lonely, or do they even like the women in their lives? Then last night at dinner with my girlfriend and him, this girl walked by and we all turned around because she was wearing something scandalous and loud. He then goes, did we all just turn and look around at her behind? And I was like, actually, no, just her outfit. So embarrassing. I'm not super happy about all of this. She did do an update because y'all know that everybody was giving it to her man in these comments. Countess of Grown says this is not good. You need to tell him to cut it out or you're over. Canceling everything and breaking up if it continues. Unfortunately, I don't think it will stop. Also, watch out for him holding his tongue until after the wedding. Abusers will escalate after they think you're trapped. And then the OP says, I'm just confused because he's never done this to me before, and I haven't gained a bunch of weight recently. I'm the same size, still fit in all my clothes from years ago. I really don't understand. He does not like you. He does not like you. I did chime in. I was like, you're going to have to decide if you really want to marry someone who shits on you and insults you. If you have a daughter with this person, would you want her to end up with a man like this? These dudes barely like the women they have in their lives. They do not, you cannot sit up and, talk about other women are hot and call the woman in your life a fat ass. You can't do that if you really like her and want to keep her. These dudes have too much nerve because women are not walking away quick enough. Bird of Song says he's being unnecessarily mean, but I think he may have his eye on someone else, and that's why he's doing this to you. One way or another, this is not anything you should accept, especially from someone who's supposed to love you. The OP says, should I ask him to his face if he's comparing me to someone else or if he's having thoughts about another woman? No, you should just leave. Like, what is this? Bird of Song says, I would ask. It also could be a general feeling that he's thinking now that he's working out that he deserves someone hot, and maybe he's getting a little attention at the gym. I'm going with him. I'm going with him just seeing how he interacts with women there. Why are you doing all of this with somebody that barely likes you? Like, should I check and see if he's looking at other people or if he's thinking about another woman? No, you should just leave these people alone. Okay, so here's her update. She says, I just brought this all up to him, and of course he denied everything. To begin, he says he has no recollection of saying half of the things to me. He then said calling me a fat ass was a joke, and he's called himself that and friends. He said he called me that because I took a bunch of snacks from his work because he said I could. He then told me just now that taking some snacks means some, not a bunch like I did. Further proving his own point that he meant what he called me. Then when I started to ask why all of a sudden in the last week he started commenting on my past self when he's never ever done that before, on what I eat, policing me, he says he doesn't know why and they are just dumb comments and he doesn't mean any of them. He then came back and said that since he's been going to the gym, he's trying to motivate me to be healthier. I don't know what to think. He also said that he thinks I'm super attractive and there's nothing or no one else that he lays eyes on. I'm still super upset, and he says that he does compliment me, which is true, but I told him it's confusing when he says all of this stuff, this other stuff too. He said he needs space and walked away from me. He's upset now because he says I'm making him out to seem horrible. And I'm like, I'm just stating the facts. This is what you said, and you've never done this to me before. So it seems fishy. So he is doing Darvo right now. She brought up something that is very valid. Why are you talking about my weight? Why are you insulting me? And he needs space. He walked away. He's like, now he is the victim. He just did the whole reverse victim and offender. I cannot stand this dude for her, but this is her fiance, and I don't even think that they have been engaged long. Women need to think long and hard about staying with their ops, sleeping with their ops. These men barely like them. Once a man starts showing that he has a disdain for you, please leave them alone. Y'all join the conversation and let me know what you think.
So I'm 29 years old, and I have officially decided that I am not going to subject myself to the dating pool ever again. And disclaimer, I am attracted to men. And when I tell men this, of course, they don't believe me and they think they can change my mind. Surprise, surprise. But what I do find surprising is that when I tell women this, especially straight women, they're usually sad for me. And I swear I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to yuck anyone's yum, but what is there to be sad about? Have you met men? Like, I've seen women stay in crappy relationships with men solely because they know exactly what is out there and they do not want any parts of it. And of course, a lot of women think that I'm coming from a place of being jaded or bitter, but it's not so much the sucky experiences that I've had with men that put me off of dating. It's that even the great experiences that I've had with them do not measure up to the fun experiences and conversations that I have had with my family, friends, and community. Like, even the highs and the honeymoon phases that I've had with men in my past did not top the experiences and just life-changing conversations that I've had with my friends. And please know that I'm aware that happy and fulfilling relationships can exist between men and women. I just don't think there's a need to be sad about women or femme people deciding not to date men. We're not wasting our youth or our beauty. Like, I promise you, we're okay. Real question half the time is, are y'all okay?